So I'm live streaming across many platforms. I've really gone global at the moment. I'm live streaming across multiple platforms. See, I'm trying to live stream about an hour a day or something like that at the moment. I mean, back when IShowSpeed and all these massive influencers, when they got big, this is how they made it. Let's put that up a bit so you can see a little bit more of my light. There we go. So have I tried Dolbao? I don't know what Dolbao is. Where's Dolbao? I think I've heard that before. Oh, the AI. Okay. I have, yeah. I've played around with all of the AIs like ChatGPT, Grok, Dolbao. I'm a big fan of DeepSeek, actually. I use DeepSeek a lot, particularly for translations. I think DeepSeek is the best for translation because it's built on a Chinese model. It's actually the best for that. Yeah, the AIs right now, I think there's a lot of confusion in the world with what's going to happen. Like, it's a very uncertain time. You know, what's happening in our world politically, business, AI. I saw something really interesting today, which is Elon Musk was saying that, I mean, I think he said this a while back. I'm not actually sure, but these new Oculus, these robots that they're building, that they're going to replace surgeons in the next 4 to 5 years, which is insane. So don't go to medical school. Medical school, there is no point in becoming a doctor right now because it sounds like that's where things are going, which is scary. Oh, Doorbell is the subsidiary corporation of ByteDance, created by. So is that the ByteDance AI? I'm not sure. Again, I should really keep a little bit up more with tech news in China. Hold on. There we go, guys. But yeah, I'm kind of right now. I'm kind of in a bit of a transition stage. Like, what do I want to do going forward? I'm getting lots of opportunities coming in. It's just what to do next. That's the big question. So we will see what happens next. But yeah, I'm going to continue doing this live streaming because it's kind of like stream of consciousness. It's how I come up with, I've got to do that. I've got to do that. It gives me some clarity, actually. This is like me speaking to an AI or speaking to a colleague. It helps me come up with ideas that I hadn't really thought of. Or any questions, guys? Anyone have any questions? Feel free to fire away. Fireball. Fireball. Oh, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Yeah, so I should keep doing some of these. See, that's why always remember to collect your receipts, because thank God I've collected them over the last year. Although this year I'm going to do things differently. I think every time I have a coffee or food or taxi, I'm just going to send the FAPI out straight away or send the receipt straight away to my accountant, because yeah, it just saves so much time. And something I did really cleverly this year was, 2020, is I logged everything. So when I first set up my business, I didn't always log everything. I just kind of at the end of the year would set, but now I'm a lot more structured. And you learn this when you're doing a business. You need to understand that Again, it goes back to what my family said. Always log your receipts. Always remember everything, because you don't know when you might need them. And proof. It shows proof of things like business expenses and this is why so many people get done for things like tax and things like that, because they just don't firstly pay the right amount of tax, but also they just don't keep on top of everything, which I do. Fireball. I'll tell you why I'm humming that song, because I just heard it in the gym. That's a really good question. So first question, do I live in Shanghai? Yes. Second question, are you planning to return to the UK for a period of time this year? So I did that last year. I spent a good chunk of November last year in the UK. And I would like to go back in the next 2 to 3 months, actually. It's always good to see my family, get a reflection on what's happening in the UK. But there's not a lot of prospects in the UK, honestly speaking. Something that's not getting... There's a lot of opportunity here in China that I wouldn't be afforded if I was in London. And then in London, it's very difficult right now for young people to get on the property ladder in the UK. And then when you've got, on the face of it, it looks like there's a lot of kind of, there's not a lot of prospects, I'd say, for young people. There is for things like creating your own business if you've got the right work ethic and you're entrepreneurial. Oh, that won't work. But I think if you've got a good work ethic and you're willing to learn, and which I think is how I kind of differentiate myself from a lot of people, is I do actually have a very good work ethic. I do work bloody hard. And I usually work 7 days a week. I don't always I have the odd day off here and there, but I do actually do work every day. So I think that's what kind of how I differentiate myself from a lot of people out there. There's a lot of my network are really hardworking, but I come across a lot of people at the same time that don't have that desire. How is the business of localizing foreign brands into Chinese market? Really well. Who's this? Tiffany in Australia. Yeah, really well. That is a market that is still really booming, because for a lot of brands that come to China, they still don't quite understand the market. So they need guys like me on the ground. The issue is this is kind of where my job comes in, is where I qualify these companies to work out, okay, who's got pain, who's got budget, who's actually in it for the long run. Because a lot of the companies that I'm speaking to, they have this, but you get the odd time waster. But there's a lot of brands still entering China. I think the opportunities are across the board. So B2C, B2B, universities, independent schools, tourism, student accommodation. There's still so much opportunity, but it's just finding the right clients, right? I don't want to work with clients that have got a budget of 5,000 or 10,000 Aussie dollars. You're just not going to crack China on that amount. Minimum you'd need to really do some stuff in China nowadays is you're looking around sort of £15,000, so 30,000 Aussie dollars to really kind of kickstart your campaign. So that's something to bear in mind. In particular, when if you didn't fully understand, then this will be a big trouble. I'm not sure what that means. In particular, when he give you assignment, if you didn't fully understand, then this will be a big trouble. I'm not sure what that means. Are you in China now? Yes. Well, good. If you can pay and you can be upfront with how much money you will pay, your budget, then we can talk. But I get a lot of companies approach me about doing video deals. Like, this is another separate part of my business. Partnership deals. Let's do a video in China, and then I'll say to them, "What's your budget?" And they're like, "Well, what's your price?" And we go back and forth. Eventually, they tell me their budget, which they should have just told me in the beginning, and then I give them and then we find an agreement. But I find that it's just the companies that give you their budget, or the people that give you their budget up front, it's not a power play. It's just, it makes the deal a lot easier to kind of go with, okay, let's find common ground here, right? I'm reasonable, I think, with my prices when it comes to doing videos on my social media in China, or doing social media strategy for China, or managing WeChat and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, and I think that's it's a shame that there's less foreigners here, but it's at the same time, it's kind of good for me. I found that I got a lot more, when more foreigners leave, I get a lot more opportunities. So it's kind of, yeah, of course, it's great to have more foreigners in China, but at the same time, I don't want another 10 Brits running around that are doing the same thing as me, right? I think you always want unfair advantage, and you want to find your niche, and that's always the way to win in business, to have an unfair advantage and deliver on what you're going to say, have irrefutable proof that you are who you say you are. That's a Alex Hormozi quote, by the way. What's my opinion of the National Health Service? Oh, don't get me started on that. So the National Health Service as an institution has to remain, right? It is, it's certainly helped me in the past. Like, I broke my arm when I was a kid, and it helped me, although I remember waiting all day to get seen for that. But it's, the reason why they set up the NHS is because after World War II, they had all these wounded veterans, and rightly so. Like, they should have taken priority, and we needed a proper healthcare system. The problem is now it's in disarray. There's not proper management in place. They hire too many managers. They hire so many admin staff that they don't even know how much. There's so much wastage happening that it's something that is a travesty. 你好，阿姨，我电台，谢谢你。So that's my ai. She cooks and cleans 3 times a week at the moment. Xie ai, 我爱你. I always say to her, I love you. Always got to show you. But I know some people that treat their eyes like shit in Shanghai. Like, they don't even talk to them. But I always talk to my IE. I look after her, give her a decent salary. Salary? Yeah, I guess that's the word. And give her a hongbao, chunjie, and I've always treated her with absolute respect. And also, it's good for me because you get to speak a bit Chinese. So win-win. But no, I think she's just lovely, and she's really good. My eye, she's right in the corners of everything. But yeah, really good questions, guys. Keep these questions coming. I like these questions. They're kind of very insightful questions and intuitive. But the NHS is something that it's going to take decades of change and when they go on strike and stuff, I think it's an absolute travesty. This idea of striking as well, like, if I can't strike, right? This is the thing. Like in the UK, if I wasn't happy with things, and like I can't strike because I'm an entrepreneur, right? This is the bit I don't really understand about that point. In the UK with doctors, anyway, that's another point. I'm just stream of consciousness here. But yeah, good questions, guys. Keep them coming. I'm just doing all my little bits of financing and everything at the moment. Going through all my little receipts. Always keep your receipts. What is the small foreigner business still going well at Shanghai? Is that English? I have no idea what that says. What is the small foreigner business still going well at Shanghai? Like restaurant products selling. I'm not sure what that means. Like, can you rephrase that? You can write it in Chinese or write it in English, but that makes no sense. That question, I have no idea what that means. 我听不懂，我听不懂你说什么呢？你讲什么呢？ No idea. I know some restaurants are doing really well in Shanghai. I think some of the foreigner businesses in Beijing, I think they're kind of those restaurants. Some of those are struggling, but then some of them I know are doing really well. There's a few I know of that are absolutely crushing it. So business is always up and down. I think the biggest opportunities for Chinese right now is global, right? It's Chinese people going global. What Chinese business partners need to understand is when they're going global, they need Western partners. It's a bit like when a Western company comes to China. I always say you need to localize, right? You need to hire eventually Chinese staff. You can't just do everything by yourself and do everything in English, right? And culturally, all these kind of things. So, but it's going to be an issue with Chinese companies going west, and then Western companies coming here. The biggest issue they have is localization. Always the biggest issue. So I know some foreigners that are doing really well in China, and I know some foreigners that are not doing so well. It goes both ways. You can't really generalize, but the thing I am noticing is I don't think people are working as hard, just generally. This is not a Chinese thing. It's not. I think young people are not as motivated anymore because a lot of people have gone to university, they've done degrees, bachelors and masters, they come out expecting great opportunities, and when they're not there, they have to realize that, well, you might have to start more at the bottom and work your way up. That's what I did. I started at the bottom, the absolute bottom. I mean, my first job was when I was 16. I was working in a kitchen. I was a pot washer. I was washing the plates and the cups and yeah, sorry, I had to start at the bottom. Right? I had to luckily for me, there was always music on. I was a lucky one because I had music on. I had radio, so I could sing. And I mean, if it is interesting to know your opinion, what industry is still going well, not in a very competition or fading? What do you think? I'd say, what do you think is the industry right now? I mean, right now, I think B2B is the one to go for if you do B2B business. Although you have to understand what B2B is, the deals take longer. So when you do B2B business between the West and China, the deals do take a long. Like if I speak to a company, I'm hoping that they sign quickly, in a week or two. But I mean, the quickest B2B deal I signed last year took about a month, which is pretty quick. But the longest one has taken over a year. It's you got to be very patient with B2B, and there's so many players involved, and because it's complex industries, they're the ones with the budgets. So I don't answer like basic questions like where are you from, and because you should know if you've looked at my content. When people just enter a live stream, they should look at my content at the same time. You should have my videos playing, and you should be watching the live stream. I am a vampire. I am coming. Some of these comments I see sometimes just make me laugh. They make me laugh. So yeah, any more questions, guys? These are really good questions, by the way. These questions are coming in about the state of. But I do find, guys, that when you ask a question, don't just ask a question and see ya, and also be thankful. I get a lot of people ask me questions. No one ever says, "Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate that." It's a bit frustrating sometimes when I'm giving all this value, but then you don't really get a thanks for this words of wisdom. Just curious to ask if. Oh God, this is one thing I've never been a fan of: graffiti. Right. That's why in Shanghai there's an area called what's that place called? M50, where people go and they do graffiti because it's like an area that's there's like walls where it's kind of allowed. Actually, I don't know if I haven't been to M50 in a long time, but that was the case the last time. And it's one thing if you go to London, or I was in Belgrade in the last summer, not summer, in October. I was in Milan, I was in Barcelona. What really ruins a really nice city around the world? Same in Melbourne. Like Melbourne has got some interesting street art, but some of the graffiti is just it's horrible. And it's one thing I don't like people that litter. I've never liked people that litter. I remember in school, we used to have these massive talks. These teachers used to sit us down and say, "We need to stop littering." And I hate litter. I hate graffiti. Now, the question of someone like Banksy, the artist, that's always an interesting one. Is that graffiti? Is it art? But yeah, I've never been into graffiti. I think it's horrible. It's part of the culture in West. Is it just a Western thing, though? I have seen it in China. I've seen it in every country I've ever been to. But I guess it is a part. It's a good point. Is it a part of like Europe? Definitely. If you go to Sydney and then you go to Melbourne, you can see the difference. Like Melbourne, there's a lot of graffiti, and in Sydney, it's more clean on the walls. But then you go. Same in like London is just horrible. London was like that when I was a kid, though. I remember as a kid going to London, there'd always be graffiti on the walls, and I'm sounding like an old fart, I know, but I only know the luxury retail and hotel. Now there's still opportunities there, but it's very. I'm itching my nose, not because of nervousness, but because it's itchy. It's very tough. The only way you can really work with those hotels and luxury retail is you have to offer like such a low price. But then I find that the people that offer such a low price, they just don't deliver. I've never met someone that offers a really low price, let's say a marketing agency, to a luxury hotel or luxury retail, and then delivers on what they're going to say. It just doesn't happen. But you have to have budget for these things. So that's my 2 cents. I don't really touch luxury. I know people that do luxury really well. In Shanghai, actually, there's a few people I know. Like they do the more marketing side and have really good teams. But luxury, it's more something I would connect someone to, because I don't personally do. I do more B2C, B2B. I get, yeah. I mean, luxury and hotel kind of comes under B2C, right? But I just find that they don't always have massive budgets, those hotels. And I did some deals with some hotels before, more as an influencer, more content with the ones in Sanya. And yeah, it was difficult to work with them. They don't really like to give a lot of creative control, and especially when they work with influencers, they'll happily cover the hotel, but they won't cover the flights. They won't pay service fee. Maybe it was just the size of my channel, but okay, that's done. Get a lot of work done today, which is good. This is smashing it right now. Do I prefer cats or dogs? What a philosophical, profound question you ask. I like both. I grew up more with cats. I didn't really have a dog when I was growing up, but then got dogs in the family in teenage years and in my 20s. What a profound question. Do I like dogs or cats? Do appreciate the comments though, and the questions. Keep them coming, guys. Just gonna get some water. Any more questions? Feel free to hit me up. I'll go get some food actually. Eat your fan. Eat your fan. Ooh. Put that up a bit. There we go. Any questions, guys? Feel free to drop me some questions. I'll try and answer them in the next minute when I come back. Ask some profound questions. Give me 2 minutes. Just gonna get some food. Right, questions. What did you do before you started streaming? I went to the gym. Do you mean in life or just generally? I did a bit of work this morning as well. So yeah, had a lot of Ooh. No, I can't say that. Oh, career path. What did I do? So I've always been in the kind of business development, sales, marketing. Something I'd say pretty good at. I'm good at connecting people together and working out pain and solutions, all this kind of stuff. I'm pretty good with that stuff. Always been a bit of a salesman, even when I was on the school playground. So yeah, I've always had a bit of a. I've always been in China. Always been in China. So yeah, good questions, guys. Don't know why everyone's obsessed with that phrase. Oh, 哎，谢谢。
谢谢，放这个吧。
可以在这里。
在哪里？
阿姨，谢谢你。Here we go. I got my little meal prep for today. So at the moment, I'm eating 5-6 times a day. I'm bulking. I'm not really interested in speaking about politics because it's something that I'm interested in, but I don't really want to make this a political channel. I'm not a political influencer. I'm not. 我不是僵尸的网红, right? Or 僵尸的博主. It's something I'm not an authority about. I know some stuff, but I don't really want to discuss that. Not really that interested. I want to discuss about China business and yeah, I'll ignore that question because it doesn't really. My view on politics, it won't change anything. It makes no difference. It's not what I do. I'm not a political analyst or I don't make money from politics. It's just not something I'm really that interested in. I follow it. I'm interested in politics. Really? I'll tell you what I'm not a big fan of, and organizations that have never really helped me, which is like these chambers of commerce, like the Shanghuis, all those kind of business organizations, all of them, they are a load of bullshit in China. Like Oumeng Shanghui, Yingguo Shanghui. The Yingguo Shanghui actually, like, let me rephrase that. The British Chamber in Shanghai, actually, the guy that runs it, he's always been very good to me. He's always been nice. I don't really have anything bad to say about him, but he's always been a really nice guy to me. But most of them are full of absolute bullshit, I'd say. So that's something that is somewhat political. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of those chambers, business organizations. Yeah. Mainly because like, I'm a Brit on the ground, right? That's what I've always said to them. I'm on the ground in China. So leverage me, right? Use me. Right? You've got a great bridge here, a connector. Someone that can be your eyes and ears, can bridge business, deliver, speaks English, Chinese, is commercial, high work ethic, all these kind of things, like tick, 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 tick. But yeah, it's all very, they're the organizations I'm not a big fan of. Gansheni. Anyway, guys, I'm going to cut the live stream soon. 我马上会下播. And so, you know, 麻烦给我礼物. Feel free to send a gift. Like, subscribe, 点赞,关注,评论一下. And yeah, I appreciate you guys, your support. Means a lot. I'm doing my best to grow things as much as I can. I can hear my eye rattling away in the background. Anyway, guys, any final questions before I wrap up? Oh, which area do you think is comfortable to live in Shanghai? That's a good question. Not Jing'an. Jing'an is full of this, like, yeah, there's too much going on over there. I like it a little bit quieter. It's very rude of me as well to speak with my mouth full. I do apologize. Sorry. I'd say anywhere in Huangpu. Huangpu's a good area. And I've got some frowning like that. Smooth. I'm not a big fan of Pudong. I just think it's too far away from everything. Actually, there's some nice areas out in like places like Minhang and out towards the airport. It's actually quite nice. Anyway, guys, I'm going to cut it there. Appreciate all your support. Gan Niman. 你们可以关注我，看一下我的视频。You can see my videos, give them a like, give them a comment, watch them in full. Please watch them in full because I get lots of people. Sometimes I get people follow me there and they say, "Oh, what's your channel?" and they follow me and they go, "No, don't do that. Be a right?" So just watch the content, love it, like it, watch as much as you can, drop some comments. I have some WeChat groups if anyone's interested to join. I have like fan groups, but I only let people in that talk. If you're just going to sit there in the WeChat group, I'm not going to add you in. So we'll do the Weixin Chun, Chun Li. So if you want to join, you can let me know. And yeah, I'm going to cut it there, guys. So 感谢你们的支持，我爱你们，加油，今天快乐，再见，拜拜。